You're telling me, Mr. Sanderson, that Demio, Captain Demio, Kelsier fanatic Captain Demio, has not been out in the mists, presumably since Vin released Ruin? Because we know he was out in the
Mm-hmm.
mists that evening she went and spied on him, but you're telling me he never went out once since that day?
Apparently not. Maybe he got a little bit of doubt going on with his faith.
I don't believe that, but also I don't believe it. That is some serious stretching you're asking me to do, Mr. Sanderson.
Unless this is a revelation that you can get it twice, or you aren't immune.
Maybe. Okay, but also,
Mm-hmm.
I had a theory which led to a scarier theory this week.
Mm-hmm.
The first theory we might have articulated already, but this idea that the mist is going around snapping people, maybe? Have we talked about that?
I think it might have been floated, yeah.
Okay. So I forget specifically what it is in the chapter that made me think it, but like I do remember thinking when I was first reading it was, oh my god, what if the mist is snapping people? It's turning everyone into allomancers so that everyone can push on Ruin at the end of the book, is what I was thinking. Something
Yeah,
like that.
I think that makes sense because what is brought up in this chapter is something that they nearly died.
Right.
I think that's what brings it up for you.
Right. So then we get to my second scary theory, because I pressed this tape forward a little bit, or backwards, actually, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
I was thinking about how hard I went in the last chapter at Quellion for being such a goddamn hypocrite. Then it occurred to me, if the mist is snapping people, then you don't necessarily need noble blood to be an allomancer. What if Quellion is an allomancer who genuinely isn't noble?
Um, yeah, that's actually not a good thing. Then that doesn't make sense. Then that's a disproving fact because up until now, allomancy is genetic. So you have to have the gene somewhere in you for the snapping to occur. So you're just saying that the mist snap is it's a completely different thing. It's actually like bestowing allomancy on people.
Well, is that
Um,
not what the
mm.
metal was? The metal ball?
Yeah, and the metal ball gave mistborn abilities. So interesting. Are you saying that there's a whole bunch of mistborn just sprouting now?
I think there might be. Maybe.
That would be cool. That would be a huge call that, but I need more evidence.
Yeah. I don't have the smoking gun quite yet, but I feel like it could be true. Yeah, the genetic thing is a little bit of a flaw, but think of what a reveal, what a twist that could be. And it seems like a twist
Yeah,
that Sanderson might enjoy twisting.
yeah, it's something that would save the day at the end, kind of thing. That we all realize, oh, actually, they've all snapped, and it was all worth it in the end. I think what actually, in terms of the not needing noble blood thing, that doesn't actually need to be true. I think if we're going with the mists are snapping people, it makes sense that like a small percentage of people would have this kind of genetic mutation or genetic remnant from noble blood very far down the line, that it gets activated by the mist. So it is still genetic, but
Hmm.
yeah, that actually explains it. It still works.
Spook specifically said, we all have noble blood if you look back far enough.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking maybe that it can still work. It doesn't have to be that the mist is bestowing, it's that it's snapping people.
Yeah.
And that would make it make sense a lot more because of, just this kind of like, look at the genetics of the people that survived, or that had a fit and survived.
Hmm.
That sort of thing, that would probably lead to those kinds of percentages.
Right. And if you're so into the only Allomancers can be nobles, or vice versa, rather, only
Hmm.
noblemen can be Allomancers idea, if you're a Ska and you're out in the mist and you suffer from the seizures but live, eh,
Hmm.
why would you link one to the other? Why would you go and arbitrarily decide to try some metal to see if you can burn it or not? You wouldn't.
Yeah, what happens with snapping? Like, how do you even know? What is that like? We actually haven't been told exactly.
Hmm.
We just know that it's, oh, that's when that person snapped. It's like, but what makes a person then go and take a metal? Do they get sick? That kind of thing? Like, is there something that makes them sick and then somebody says, okay, yeah, you've actually snapped? There has to be something that makes you notice.
Well, yeah, one would think it could be some sort of awakening thing. And obviously, the
Mm.
reason that Vin wouldn't know is because she snapped as a child.
Or she had a bead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or that. But the other thing is, like, I imagine in the Lord Ruler's perfect world, the nobleman has the son. The nobleman tries to forcefully snap the son in order to, or daughter, in order to see if they're Allomancers or not. So someone like Straff would probably torture, say, Elend, and then give him some metal and say, burn it, and
Hmm.
hope that he does.
Yeah. That would happen, yeah, but
But that's not going to happen for a Ska.
yeah. And it wouldn't have happened for Kelsia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how do they know when to stop torturing them?
Yeah.
They just keep going. Yeah. How do they know that this person is not going to snap? So we need to know, like, when snapping happens, how it works. We still don't know that.
Agreed. Yeah. I bet we'll find out because I bet it is linked to this missed seizure thing.
Yes, you probably have a fit or something. Maybe that's what happens, that you have a fit when you've snapped,
Yeah.
and then you recover, and then people have now identified.
But if it is like a fit type thing, how is it that Elend hasn't realized or made that connection quite yet?
Because he's too busy right now. The plot won't allow him.
That's true. Shall we get into the chapter?
Yep.
Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co host, that darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are both going into the story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world. Each segment will cover what happens in each new chapter while discussing our experience along the way.
This is The Hero of Ages. It's all in the pages, a blind read through. And today we are covering Chapter 17.
Chapter 17!
The subtlety displayed in the ash eating microbes and enhanced plants shows that Rashek got better and better at using the power. It burned out in a matter of minutes, but to a god, minutes can pass like hours. During that time, Rashek began as an ignorant child who shoved a planet too close to the sun, grew into an adult who could create ash mounts to cool the air, then finally become a mature artisan who could develop plants and creatures for specific purposes. It also shows his mindset during his time with Preservation's power. Under its influence, he was clearly in a protective mode. Instead of leveling the ash mounts and trying to push the planet back into place, he was reactive, working furiously to fix problems that he himself had caused. Okay?
All of this could be just Vin conjecture, but yeah, it makes sense. This does definitively, well, somewhat definitively, if we take this for truth, that the power was used very quickly, but your perception during using the power is very, very different. So she explains that here. It's burned out in a matter of minutes, but to a god, minutes can pass like hours. So there was learning and leveling up and whatever, all within these minutes.
Yeah. And it sort of answers the question, how could he do so much in so little? time.
Mm.
Although I kind of
Yeah.
presumed that,
Yeah,
it would feel like
exactly.
hours type thing.
Yeah, we presumed it earlier on, but this is now having them put the thought into onto the page.
Yeah. And that first paragraph, there's something of a growth, sort of a life cycle type thing going on. You start as a child, you grow, and you improve type of a thing. There's something there to consider that is like
Mm.
just beyond my reach. But then we get into preservation and its influence on people and how they behave and act. And I'm still kind of working with this idea that the mist is preservation in the same way that that black smoke was ruin.
Mhm.
So, particularly with the focus on the mist in this particular chapter, I think, and perhaps this is part of why I jumped to this it's snapping people idea. Whatever it is
Mm.
doing when it is causing these fits and killings, I think it is trying to do something preservative. I was going to say good, but we've had the
Mhm.
discussion about how preservation doesn't inherently mean good. It is doing what is in its nature to do, which is to
Yeah.
preserve in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so. That makes sense.
Shall we get into the chapter then?
Mhm.
Elend rode at the front of his men astride a brilliant white stallion that had been scrubbed clean of ash. He turned his mount, surveying the ranks of nervous soldiers. They waited in the evening light, and Elend could see their terror. They had heard rumors, then had those rumors confirmed by Elend the day before. Today, his army would become immunized to the mists. Very nice to see that that's finally happening.
Yeah, they're doing it. Of course, the major question is, did he force them or not? And we do get that answer. But yeah, as you're reading, when you get into the first paragraph, you're like, cool, cool, cool. We know this is happening. What happened? How did
Yeah,
you? How did we make this happen? Because that
yeah,
that makes a big difference. Yeah.
yeah.
Also, wow, well done for scrubbing the horse clean.
Yes, good horse. Elend rode through their ranks, General Demio astride a roan stallion next to him. Both horses were big destriers, brought on the trip more to impress than for usefulness. Elend and the other officers would spend most of the trip in canal boats rather than on horseback. He didn't worry about the morality of his decision to expose his forces to the mists. Whoa there, Elend. Now, we don't have the key bit of information that I think everyone who listens to this podcast of ours knows we need to know.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what decision? What do you mean? How are we implementing this decision, Ellen?
Yeah.
And why are you trying not to think of the morality? Is it because it's immoral?
Yep. Because you know it's wrong. Or at least he
Mm.
didn't worry about it at that moment. Elend had learned something very important about himself. He was honest. Perhaps too honest. If he was uncertain, it would show in his face. The soldiers would sense his hesitation. So he'd learned to confine his worries and concerns to when he was alone with those closest to him. That meant Vin saw too much of his brooding, but it left him free at other times to project confidence.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yes, he is honest.
Yeah, he's honest, but he's honest when he. So he's saying he's honest usually. Is it dishonest to lean into your confidence in one situation and lean into your weakness in another situation? I don't think it's dishonest.
I
It's
agree.
tactical. Yeah.
Tactical.
Mm.
Is fake it till you make it dishonest?
Oh, mm. With the word fake, yes, inherently, I suppose. Hmm.
He moved quickly, letting his horse's hooves beat a thunder for the men to hear. Occasionally he heard captains call out for their men to be firm. Even so, Ellen saw the anxiety in his soldiers' eyes, and could he blame them? This day the men would face an enemy that they could not fight, could not resist. Within the hour, 700 of them would lie dead, about 1 in 50. Not bad odds on a grand scale, but that meant little to a man feeling the mist creep around him.
Yeah, at least we know that. That would mean little. That would mean a lot, actually, to you. You would be like, it's me, right? I'm the one that's gonna. Yeah, I'm on this list.
Yeah, I'd be pretty nervous.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I would be the, oh yeah, of course it's going to be me guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
The men stood their ground. Elend was proud of them. He had given those who wished it the opportunity to return to Luthadel instead of facing the mists. He still needed troops in the capital. Almost none had left. I read that and I'm like, oh, okay, great.
Oh, in my one, by the way.
Uh-huh.
So it does also do the he had given those who wished it the opportunity to return to Luthadel instead of facing the mist. He still needed the troops in the capital, and he'd rather not march with men unwilling to go into the mists. And then it says almost none had gone. So it's added to this thing of like, well, I don't want to march with men that don't want to go into the mists. So it doesn't
Interesting.
change it too much. Yeah. But it adds this thing of, well, if they don't want to walk in the mists, then we can't march with them. So they can go back. Maybe without that, you can feel a bit more like he's being compassionate.
Yeah.
But even then, you could say, well, the fact that he needs the troops in Luthadel is also just the reason that he gives them the choice. Which, no, it's not really. It's just an added benefit. It's like, fine, if you're not coming with us, you still need to help us. You don't just get to, you're not on vacation now.
Yeah.
So you get to be an unimmunized soldier, and you go to Luthadel. I think that's good use of the people that aren't coming with.
I agree.
And yeah.
Like for all of our conversations in past episodes about how if he doesn't offer them the choice, then he's making a
Mm-hmm.
deeply immoral act. For all of his
Mm-hmm.
concerns now about whether or not he's doing a moral thing here, he did give them the choice.
Mm-hmm. That's the moral thing. That's the difference. That's what we were looking for, and I'm very glad he did. And also, look, it's paid off because almost none had gone. Because that we had the same theory. We were like, I don't think many would leave anyway.
Yeah.
They will face it anyway because it's like this is the end of the world.
Yeah.
There's not much hope otherwise. So might as well just face it.
Yeah. The vast majority had instead lined up in ranks without having to be ordered, wearing full battle gear, armor polished and oiled, uniforms as clean as possible in the ash stained wilderness. It felt right to Elend for them to be in their armor. It made them seem they were going to battle, and in a way, they were. Yeah, it's like this big event, which I think is kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool. Morbid, but cool.
Yeah, and it's facing your death on your feet.
Mm-hmm. They trusted him. They knew that the mists were advancing toward Luthadel and understood the importance of capturing the cities with storage caverns. They believed in Ellen's ability to do something to save their families. Their trust made him more determined. He reined in his horse, turning the massive beast beside a rank of soldiers. He flared pewter, giving his body more strength and his lungs more power, then rioted the emotions of the men to make them braver. Be strong! He shouted. Nice speech time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't need it to be too long-winded, but let's go.
Yes. Be strong, he shouted. Heads turned toward him, and the clanking of armor hushed. His own voice was so loud in his ears that he had to dampen his tin. These mists will strike some of us down. Most of us will be untouched, and most who fall will recover. Then none of us need fear the mists again, and we need not risk a morning attack from Fadric's city as we hide in our tents, the mists spilling in, and a sixth of our men shaking on the ground.
So it's a good point he makes there about like, listen, you are vulnerable sitting in your tent. You're vulnerable to normal humans. Yes, or even I suppose Kolos being in your tent in the morning, just sitting there. You are vulnerable. You might have your enemy might be immunized themselves, so
Mm-hmm.
they can run around in the mists. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. He turned his horse, Demio following behind, and moved along the ranks. I do not know why the mists kill, but I trust in the survivor. He named himself Lord of the Mists. If some of us die, then it is his will. Keep the faith. Okay, so we've got Elend pushing hard into the survivor element at play here.
That was, but he pushed way hard. Like, if we die, then it is his will. What? His will is has nothing to do with it. Like, what now? He is the mist. Like,
He,
if I wonder if Vin heard that, what she would think. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like when you say it is his will if we die, that means it could be his will for you to live, as if he has that power, which he does not. He was a man.
Yeah, but as we go on later to learn, they're starting the process of deifying him, like really thinking of him as more of a god than as a man.
Yeah, we knew this was going to happen, but doesn't mean I'm going to like it.
Yeah, but again, we haven't really seen a faction of Ska going around saying, "Why has Kelsier forsaken us? The mists are dangerous. Why did
Hmm.
he lie to us?" Kind of a thing. So it's
I'm
interesting to
waiting for that.
see that element. Yeah, me too. It's
Mm.
interesting to see that element at play here, the connection between Kelsier and the mists killing.
Yeah.
Kelsier as Lord of the Mists, I mean.
Mm.
Anyway, his reminders seemed to have some effect. The soldiers stood a little straighter, facing west toward where the sun would soon set. Elend reined in again, sitting tall and letting himself be seen. They look strong, my lord, Tamio said quietly, moving his horse up beside Elend's. It was a good speech. Elend nodded. My lord, Tamio said, did you mean what you said about the survivor? Of course I did. I'm sorry, my lord, Demio said. I didn't mean to question your faith. It's just that, well, you don't have to keep up this charade of belief if you don't want to. I gave my word, Demio, Ellen said, frowning and glancing at the scarred general. I do what I say. Good Ellen, strong Ellen. We've had this kind of interaction before, but we've
Hmm.
never gotten too deep into it. So I actually really do like where this conversation goes.
Yeah, I appreciate going into this. Like, yeah, you're doing what you need to do, but what do you actually believe, Ellen? Like,
Yeah, and how do
I
you
don't think I would
feel
want.
about it?
Yeah, I don't think I would want someone giving me empty promises, or not empty promises, empty faith. I would want them to really believe if they're professing to so many people as well.
Yeah. I believe you, my lord, Demio said. You are an honorable man. But, but, if you don't really believe in the survivor, I don't think he would want you speaking in his name. Elend opened his mouth to reprimand Demio for his lack of respect, but stopped himself. Lack of respect? I didn't get lack of respect there.
It's questioning. I suppose he sees it as lack of respect by questioning his master or
Is
something.
that the way Elend would take something like that?
Well, clearly he did. I mean,
I mean, yeah, but hmm.
or is that
Hmm.
something he should take? I don't think he should, but that maybe that's an indicator that he's like he's getting used to not being questioned by everyone. Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
don't
has to
know.
stop himself.
I mean, for one thing, Demio here would have stopped, but Elend prodded him to continue. And
Hmm.
given the circumstances of how Elend came to be in the Church of the Survivor, and considering Demio helped facilitate it, I don't
Hmm.
think it is unreasonable at all for Demio to believe that Elend is essentially faking it.
Hmm.
And uh,
But he's not
he
supposed to question. He's not supposed to question about this faking it. He must just accept it,
but it's not lack
accept what
of
he does.
but the phrase isn't lack of faith, it's lack of respect. And I think Demio is coming off as to me as a bit more cautiously prodding more so than
Yeah,
or
I
expressing
agree.
concern, you know.
I agree, but I think it's just a sign that Erland is like he's not used to this kind of conversation with Demio.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is so it. He has to he has to stop himself and go. Wait, this isn't disrespectful.
yeah. I just hope that Elland doesn't come to start thinking that anyone who questions him is disrespecting him. I don't think it'll go that way.
Mm,
In fact,
yeah.
I don't think this line is meant to be all that important. I mean, every line in a book is important, but I don't think this is meant
Mm.
to be something to like blow into this whole big plot line character changing
Yeah, I
thing.
guess.
But
Yeah, but also just if we're looking at this, the way it's structured, he says he believes Elland, you are an honorable man, but. And the fact is, he still has a but. So he's questioning Ellen's honor.
Hmm.
So you shouldn't have the but. That's the disrespect.
Yeah.
You should just say you're an honorable man. End of story.
But also keep in mind, it comes off the heels of Ellen thinking to himself that he's an honest man, too honest. And here
Yeah.
we've got Demio basically accusing him of not being honest. So I guess
Yeah.
that I could get a little bit of Ellen perhaps being defensive here.
Yeah, he's touchy.
Yeah. Elend opened his mouth to reprimand Demio for his lack of respect, but stopped himself. The man spoke with honesty from his heart. That wasn't the kind of thing to punish. Besides, he might have had a point. I don't know what I believe, Demio, Elend said, looking back at the field of soldiers. Certainly not in the Lord Ruler. Sazed's religions have been dead for centuries, and even he has stopped talking about them. It seems to me that leaves the Church of the Survivors the only real option. With all due respect, my lord, Demio said, that's not a very strong profession of faith.
I agree.
Yeah,
Oh, there's no others. I suppose I'm just gonna have. This is my last option. That's yeah. I wouldn't accept that.
I mean, atheism's always an option, Elend, but yeah, no, it's not. I'm having trouble with faith lately, Demio, Ellen said, looking up, watching flakes of ash drift through the air. My last god was killed by the woman I eventually married, who you claim as a religious figure, but who spurns your devotion. Demio nodded quietly. I don't reject your god, Demio, Ellen said. I meant what I said. I think having faith in Kelsier is better than the alternatives, and considering what's going to be coming at us in the next few months, I'd rather believe that something, anything, is out there helping us. Preservation!
Yes, preservation is helping us, but atheism isn't an option.
Yes.
He wants to believe in something.
Yeah. Gotta have faith.
Hmm.
Faith is for when you struggle, not when you don't struggle.
It's for always. It's for both.
Yes. But most important, when your faith is tested? No, that's not right. What am I saying? Forget it.
You need faith to get you need faith to get through tough times.
Yes. They were quiet for a few moments. I know that the Lady Air objects to our worship of the survivor, my lord, Demio finally said. She knew him, as did I. What she doesn't understand is that the survivor has become so much more than just the man Kelsier. Ellen frowned. That sounds like you calculatedly made him a god, Demio, that you believe in him as a symbol only. Uh, the calculated part,
No,
certainly,
yeah,
probably. I mean, there had to have been some form of, hey, we are making the decision. He is our god now.
you yeah, it means you knowingly, maybe not calculatedly exactly from Calcia. That's exactly what he wanted. But you knowingly do it because you saw the man in front of you and he was not a god, he was a man with cool powers.
Yeah. Demio shook his head. I'm saying that Kelsier was a man, but a man who gained something. A mantle. A portion of something eternal and immortal. When he died, he wasn't merely Kelsier, the crew leader. Don't you think it odd that he was never mistborn before he went to the pits?
I'm actually, with the thing here, a portion of something eternal and immortal obviously brings back the idea of the sliver of infinity.
Mm-hmm.
And it also reminds me of other epigraphs in which it's written, Mistborn of preservation, or like
Mm-hmm.
that they, I think it was Elend had a piece of preservation or something, and that's what made him Mistborn, something like that. So actually, it seems like there is some truth to this metaphor he's kind of using, that
Mm-hmm.
there is a bit of preservation in him, in all allomancers, hopefully, if
Right.
allomancy is preservation. So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, if allomancy is preservation and that metal ball is
Mm-hmm.
what grants allomancy, again, I think it
Mm-hmm.
strengthens the argument that I'm making, that the mist killing people is the mist trying to snap people or to give them all allomancy in some way.
Yeah.
Do you think the metal ball was just condensed mist because the epigraph said that it was basically allomancy given form or something to that
Yeah, why
effect?
not? Something.
Condense the
I
mist.
mean, Vin has drawn upon the mist. So,
The other thing I think about, because when you think of Kelsier, you kind of got to think of Jesus.
Mhm.
I think about some of the more mystical, I guess you could say, elements of the Jesus story, like coming back from the dead, the 3 days thing. I'm not Christian. I don't know the specifics,
Uh,
but
yeah, you still know the whole 3-day thing. That's pretty basic, yeah.
yeah, type thing, and how those ideas entered into the mythology that is Christianity, into the religion that
Mhm.
is Christianity.
Mhm.
I feel like this whole conversation sort of touches upon this thing because I know that there are people who make the distinction between the historical Jesus and the Jesus of Christianity and the Christian religion.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the thing here is Jesus did claim to be God. So whether you believe it or not, that is the story that he said he's the Son of God. The people who crucified him also laughed at him for that whole idea. But I guess Kelsier does this sort of the same by saying he is the Lord of the Mists and he is the Mist or whatever. Kind of gives himself this deification thing without really going as far as saying I'm the Son of God. It's somewhat comparable that people would go from this guy said he's the King of Kings and this guy said he's the Son of God to wow, that guy's God. The difference that I see is that because from a religious point of view, Christ lived a perfect life, whereas Kelsier absolutely did not.
Mm,
So that's the difference in these two figures is that this man was a man with all kinds of flaws, whereas Christ is it has to be by definition perfect. Otherwise his sacrifice doesn't work.
gotcha. Did you ever see Jesus Christ Superstar?
No.
You're not a musical
uh,
person, are you?
no.
Okay. Sorry. As you were saying that, I was just thinking of lines from the musical. Yeah. Your words, not mine, or something to that effect. Anyway, that's the way allomancy works, Demio, Ellen said. You don't gain your powers until you snap, until you face something traumatic, something that nearly kills you. Gee, what is this entire army about to do?
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, this isn't repetitive Sanderson. This isn't Sanderson reminding us how allomancy works.
No.
This is
It's a clue.
1000% a clue
Yeah.
for us. Is it? Yeah, it's not very subtle, I think.
Is well that now considering what happens next, maybe this is how we find out what is going on because Demure will
Demio's
be
totally going to
snapping.
be a Mistborn now. Yeah, absolutely. I
Mm,
don't think
but
Demio is
hey, it
going to
doesn't have to
die.
be a
There's no
Mistborn.
way.
No,
No,
it
it doesn't
doesn't
have to
mean
be
you have to
full
be
on Mistborn, but
it's going to become a pewter a thug. That's what he's going to
oh, that would fit for him.
do. Mm.
And you don't think that Kelsier experienced those kinds of events before the pits? Demio asked. My lord, he was a thief who robbed from obligators and noblemen. He lived a very dangerous life. You think he could have avoided beatings, near deaths, and emotional anguish? Elend hesitated. He gained his powers at the pits, Elend said quietly, because something else came upon him. People who knew him speak of how he was a changed man when he came back. He had purpose. He was driven to accomplish something the rest of the world thought impossible. Demio shook his head. No, my lord. Kelsier the man died in those pits, and Kelsier the survivor was born. He was granted great power and great wisdom by a force that is beyond us all. That is why he accomplished what he did. That is why we worship him. He still adds the follies of a man, but he adds the hopes of a divinity.
On that, here he did gain his power in the pits, and yes, he did have a tough life before, but you guys are, Demure, you're underestimating the power of that ego, okay? He was very happy-go-lucky, foolhardy, and invincible, okay? And then he loses Mare, and that is the thing that takes him, okay? I am in agreement, and you can go back to the beginning of Mistborn where I was like, oh, well, things are just happening the way they're supposed to happen. And yeah, there is some sort of guiding force or whatever. I'm all with you on that. But the fact that Calcia snapped there is because of Mare, and the fact that he is a changed man is because of losing Mare.
Mm-hmm.
Because of her ideals, what she wanted, what she believed about the past, and what could be done in the future. All of that created Calcia the survivor. And the ego came along with him, don't worry, because he needed it. But yeah, I suppose it happening then, Mare dying, then you could call that providence, that, okay, well, everything was just meant to happen when it did happen, so that everything could happen. That's
Yes.
the whole idea that he's bringing up there. But yeah, again, it's not like the what's it, preservation came down from upon high and bestowed power upon the grand Calcia and rose him from the dead. Or no, it's, yeah, he just snapped like other people snap, and he's a Mistborn,
Yeah.
and he's special. So yeah, it's yes and no is essentially my comment.
Yes. And no. Elend turned away. The rational, scholarly side of him understood exactly what was happening. Kelsier was gradually being deified, his life made more and more mystical by those who followed him. Kelsier had to be invested with heavenly power, for the church couldn't continue to revere a mere man. Another part of Elend was glad for the rationalization, if only because it made the story that much more believable. After all, Demio was right. How did a man living on the streets last so long before snapping? Someone screamed. Oh no,
Mm.
it started.
Yep, it's starting. That's gonna happen, and no matter how prepared you are, it's still going to be horrific. So Scream would happen.
Yep. Elend looked up, scanning the ranks. Men began to shuffle as the mists appeared, sprouting in the air like growing plants. He couldn't see the soldier who had fallen. Soon the point was moot, for others began to scream. The sun began to be obscured, blazing red as it approached the horizon. Ellen's horse shuffled nervously. The captains ordered the men to remain steady, but Ellen could still see motion. In the group before him, pockets opened in the ranks as men randomly collapsed, marionettes whose strings had been cut. They shook on the ground, other soldiers backing away in horror, mist moving all around. Important question to ask
Mm-hmm.
while we're talking about whether or not the mist snaps people.
Mm-hmm.
Of all of the people who have died to the mists or fell into fits, have any Allomancers died or fitted?
Yeah, that's, we need to look at that.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Ham. I'm thinking about Breeze. I'm thinking about Sawzed. I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
about Spook. Spook's been out at night in the
Mm-hmm.
mists, so he's okay.
But we need to know, it doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean just because he's an Allomancer he's safe. It's just, it could be statistics that he's just been safe. So we need to
Yes.
know if Sazed was around and properly being a scholar and asking
Mm-hmm.
these questions, and I
Yeah.
know and understand what he's going through, but still, uh, this is something Sazed would have to be interested in researching.
Yes. They need me, Elend thought, grabbing his reins, pulling on the emotions of those around him. Demio, let's ride! He turned his horse. Demio did not follow. Ellen spun. Demio? What? He choked off immediately. Demio sat in the mist, shaking horribly. Even as Ellen watched, the balding soldier slipped from his saddle, collapsing to the ankle-deep ash below. Okay, Demio, first off, lie of omission. This is something you should have told Ellen, because you,
Yes.
frankly, are probably too important to lose this way if you
Yeah.
don't make it out of it. But also, Demio, 1 in 6 chance you're about to fall into a seizure and you don't get off your horse for it?
He's like, nah, the ash is a soft landing. It's fine.
Ah, fair. That's actually a fair response, but I hate it.
No, but unless this is the reveal that you can get hit twice, this is we need more explanation here because I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
how is this? How is this? Oh well, we sort of forgot that Demure. Ellen sort of forgot about Demure not being immunized. Like,
Yeah.
how did we do this? Maybe, or is this him going, oh, I thought that he was fine, he was immune. So
He never
Demure
said
could have been
anything. We're
thinking
gonna
that
get
himself.
into another. We're
Yeah,
gonna get into another Ellen POV, and he's just gonna be like, "I never thought to ask him. I just assumed."
yeah,
Stupid
which
Ellen.
is
Stupid Demio.
he does just assume. He says it in here that he just assumed.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone then assumed.
Yeah.
Okay, has he been fearing the mists? Has he been secretly, pretending, letting everyone assume? So lie by omission, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's the reveal that you can get hit twice. I really hope it's just that he was hiding and lie of omission. That's what I hope. I don't want it to be this hit twice thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Demio! Ellen yelled, hopping down, feeling like a fool. He'd never thought to wonder if Demio was susceptible. He'd assumed that he, like Vin and the others, was already immune. Elland knelt beside Demio, his legs in the ash, listening to soldiers scream and captains yell for order. His friend shook and twisted, gasping in pain, and the ash continued to fall.
Ash fell from the sky was the first line. Remember that?
Ah, yeah, look, I'm very skeptical. You're stretching my suspension that Demio just
Mm.
happened to never mention this and or has just never been out in the mist in this way before.
I want to have an explanation from him that actually shows that he was trying to hide it,
Yeah.
because that would make more sense to me. That would
Yeah.
make it easier for me to believe. Not just like, oh, well, you never asked. Mm,
Yeah. No, my expectation is that he will survive. We're going to get a hospital bed conversation. And at some point in the book, we're going to find out that Demio has become an Allomancer. I
I
feel,
hope so.
yeah, somewhat confident on that here.
I don't. I want it quick. I want them to figure this out quickly. Okay, I don't want this later on in the book. Okay, I want them to be like, I don't know. I just want them to figure it out through Demure. I want him to be the reason they figure it out right now.
Yeah.
Next chapter.
Yeah. Before we wrap this up, I did want to have a carryover from last week's chapter conversation.
Hmm.
I think we both more or less articulated that Quellion is supposed to demonstrate for us, the audience, what a dark Kelsier, if he were alive, would look like, what his government might
Hmm.
have become, right? I don't actually believe that is what we would have gotten if Kelsier did live for a handful of reasons. Like if Vin wasn't there and Kelsier didn't change at the end because of Vin's poking and prodding. Well, Vin wasn't the only quote unquote good one in the group. Yes, Doxson would probably go down or push for a more vengeful path, but Breeze, we know, is a good man. Sazed is a font of wisdom that Kelsier deeply, deeply respected, and Ham was always concerned with ethics and morality and philosophy. So
Hmm.
Kelsier strikes me as someone who values the opinions of those closest to him, and he strikes me as someone who is pragmatic and who has goodness in him, even if it was necessary for Vin to pull it out of him. And Kelsier is a very flamboyant person in a way that Quellion isn't. So I don't think a Kelsier government would turn into a Quellian scommunist type thing. What do you think of all of that, Kitty?
Yeah, I'm in absolute agreement. I understand that it is illustrating the dangers, but it's not actually Calcia specific because Calcia, okay, I suppose the worst you would have gotten is that Calcia would have killed the nobleman. That's it. Okay, I'm not putting that lightly, but it would have been that's his worst thing. Maybe that would have changed him. I don't know. But, or it would have actually, I think that maybe would have made him a bit more conservative afterwards. Either way, the worst you would have gotten is dead nobleman, and I don't think he would have gone all the way through to this kind of starting to just kill his enemies using stupid, faulty reasoning like, oh no, their blood, it's in their blood. That whole purity thing, I don't think he would have gone down a purity spiral because
Mm-hmm.
that's just way too hypocritical. And
He knew he was
Vin
part
was not
nobleman.
yeah, exactly. And Vin was not the only rational kind of break there. He did, like you said, he had those surrounding characters that wouldn't have helped him accelerate into that. They would have at least made him think about it. And you're forgetting as well, Breeze is actually a nobleman.
Yeah.
So maybe that would have been found out and whatever, or he would have shared that or something. But either way, yeah, Calcia direct comparison, not so doesn't work out. But still, I think we still need to understand that having this full vengeful government can just go really out of hand quite quickly.
Yeah. It grows, it morphs, it becomes its own thing. Other people get involved, other personalities, and so
Mm-hmm.
on. But yeah, I did want to
Yeah.
make that distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to say?
Like the video.
If you like, it would be tremendously helpful.
Subscribe.
And subscribe if you like. I would sincerely appreciate it. Also, join the Discord if you want. We've got a great growing community there that's becoming more and more active every day. Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Darn Kitty if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks.
Goodness,
Bye.
bye.